Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time with us, my name's Elena, and today we're doing something short, sweet, and nostalgic. We're just making the big three from the Supernatural series. I have a long history with this show. I will fully admit right off the bat that I haven't really watched it consistently since about season 10. I think everybody has that experience when you watch Supernatural. Like, eventually it just becomes too much. I am planning on going back and, like, watching some of the old things as the newest and last season starts coming out pretty soon. But yeah, I started watching Supernatural when I was, like, a junior in high school, and I was in AP World History, and it stressed me out so much that I, like, gave myself an ulcer. That's, like... I deal with anxiety so well, you guys. Just so well. Great coping mechanisms. So my other coping mechanism was to watch Supernatural. I was already I had, like, that stage where you're just really you're like, I like British stuff. I just love... So I watched, like, Doctor Who, and I watched Sherlock, and, like, whatever. And then Supernatural was, like, part of the trifecta. This was... If you were on Tumblr at all between about 2010 and 2015, you experienced the, like, horror of the Super Hulock era. I had a blog. I had a Super Hulock blog. Like, I was deep in the sauce. I was lost. So I watched, I think there were, like, 6 seasons released when I was a junior in high school, and I watched all of them in very quick succession. I was very, like... This was the first time I ever got so into, like, shipping, too. I was so, like, the Castiel, I have written the fan fiction. I have read the fan fiction. I have read a 400,000-word fan fiction about Dean and Cass being, like, soldiers in World War II 3 times. That's, like, the whole Lord of the Rings series, but just about that. Anyway, so I love this show. I haven't watched it in a long time, though. So... to avoid all the drama of picking, like, my favorite side characters, and also because, like, I'm working on my thesis, and so I don't really have that much free time, I just stuck with the big 3. So we've got Dean, Sam, and Castiel. Dean, I gave him the big happy family trait because it felt like I wanted to be sad. And also, I think that is true. Like, he just wants... He always, like, wanted to be the person that, like, settled down and stopped hunting monsters and, like, could relax for once. And then I also gave him the genius trait, because, like, I mean, I think that's part of his character on the show. I remember being in the Supernatural fandom back when there was this whole big thing about, like, well, Sam's the bookish one, but Dean's, like, really, really smart. He, like, built this MP3 player out of, like, he built a ghost detector out of an MP3 player, and he does all these, he, like, remembers all this weird shit, and so he really is, he just has a very specific area that he's a genius in, which is hunting monsters. Even though he's, like, he gives off this, like, very unbookish, like, masculine aura. And then I gave him good because, I mean, that's really part of the show, is that he's constantly, like, trying to sacrifice himself for other people and trying to be, like, the hero, and, like, he hates himself, and, like, all these, he just has this, like, huge hero complex. So I gave him that. And then the third one is geeky, because that's, like, a thing that was really fun. This is why I loved watching it when I did, was because that was when I think they were really starting to get into, like, subverting all these character tropes that they started all the characters out with. Like, Dean started as this super masculine, like, kind of guy, and then they were starting to give him these dorky, like, he was, like, a clean freak, and he loved Game of Thrones, and he loved, like, so that was just, I don't know, I had a lot of fun with that. Anyway, so making his face was interesting because Jensen Ackles is, and I don't want to be dramatic here, the handsomest man on Earth ever. Like, there's a ton of contenders for that, but there's just something about the way that his face is that really makes you question if you know what a person looks like, You're like, could I look like that? Can other human beings look like that? Like, is that possible? So I had a lot of fun with his face. I took a lot of time on it. He ended up looking very, like, twinky, because I was debating which kind of era of Supernatural I was going for. I ended up making them look a little bit more like their older selves, like, probably, like maybe like season 9 or something. So I think I made Dean a little bit less beefy than I made the other two, so I went back and fixed that. But dressing him was super easy because he dresses the same no matter what. Like, he's got, like, a leather jacket or, like, a cargo jacket or a flannel, and those are the 3 things that he wears. So it was pretty easy. Like, the sports thing, I gave him, like, the dirty face paint in his sports category because I don't know, I thought, like, oh, he's working on his car or something. I wish, actually, looking back, this would have been hilarious, and I might still go back and do it, but just to make, like, a dog or a cat that's, like, the Impala, I think that would be hilarious. Give it, like, a little, like, white patch on its butt for, like, the license plate. Anyway, this is what, I had, like, a little bit of an acquaintanceship back in the day with somebody who owned a Chevrolet Impala, like a 1967 Impala, just like in the show, and that was like my most treasured friendship. Yeah, I could go on about this. I really, now I have the urge to go back. I'm not lying when I say that. So you know how when you get really sad about something, or like you're really avoiding something, you start to track back through your past interests. So you'll be like, oh, what was I doing last month that I had a lot of fun with? And then you'll rewatch that TV show. And then you go, I have recently gone so far back that I read more supernatural fan fiction. And honestly, it's still great. Like, there's something about, like, the 35-year-old ladies that feel very passionate about supernatural that just makes them excellent writers. I really use, like, very minimal CC with all of these. I gave Dean some CC freckles. They all have the 3D eyelashes because I'm not, like, a monster. And then I think all of their hairs are a base, not a base, but like an EA hair mesh, but just with a different color, because I really like the wildly miniature sandwich colors. Okay, so Sam, this is, again, I was a Dean girl. Like, he was the gay one. Not that, like, he's canonically gay in the show or whatever, but they're very, you know, the ultimate queer baity. I mean, just to put it out there, like, gay people don't watch Supernatural for fun. They watch Supernatural because Dean gives off, like, heavy bi vibes. So he was my favorite, but I did really also love Sam, because Sam's the one who's very, like, secretly dark. You know, he starts out being the puppy, the, like, little brother, you know, you're rooting for him, he can't do anything wrong, he's just kind of, like, sweet and bratty, and then he gets, like, real dark. So I gave him the Renaissance sim aspiration, I think, because that really is his thing. He's very, like, I'm gonna know everything, I'm gonna, like, be on top of this, I'm gonna have all these skills, and, like, he secretly just, I mean, not secretly, he wants to, like, leave and go back to being a normal person. He just really can't at that point. So I gave him that aspiration. I gave him the loner trait, because he does tend to be a little bit more like, leave me, like, I'll figure this out by myself, leave me alone. I want to go to college by myself. I want to, you know, all that kind of stuff. Bookworm, because it's just very true. The boy was like, I want to leave, like, the monster slaying business. What should I do? Law school. Like, law school? You were like, wow, it's too soul-sucking to, like, follow around these ghouls and vampires and gremlins that, like, leech off of other people's lives. So what I'm going to do now is be a lawyer. Like, no offense to any lawyers out there, but you know that you have to deal with a bunch of assholes in your work, like, on a day-to-day basis, right? Like, what? Anyway. I like to think that Sam would have been a very good divorce lawyer, actually. He just has, like, this very comforting face. Anyway. His face was fun to build. I think Jared Padalecki has, like, a very distinctive face. Like, Dean... Jensen Ackles, who plays Dean, has an extremely he looks like a Roman statue, like, just completely classically handsome face. So he was actually, like, a little harder to make. With Sam, he has, like, he's got, like, the biggest jaw in the world, and, like, he's just got a very distinctive face. So his was kind of fun to make. I will also say, like, the male hairs in The Sims they leave a little something to be desired in some categories, but you can make, like, literally any season of Sam's hair with the options that they give you. I think that's hilarious. Like, there's just a whole ton of, like, flowy, medium length dude hairs. Anyway, he also has a good trait because he's the same as Dean. He has just this huge hero complex, even though he does a bunch of, like, whack shit in the middle, but so does Dean. Like, I think the entire plot of the show should just be, like, two brothers make bad choices because they think it's going to save the world. So Sam also, very base game, just the hair, the eyelashes. And I think... I don't think either of them have any CC clothing. Castiel does because that, like, he just had to. There was no other way to do it. But very minimal CC because they dress just like dudes. Like, very typical... I wear a flannel, I wear a sweater, I wear whatever. I will say I didn't really spend a whole ton of time picking their outfits, as you can see. I just kind of gave them what would keep them looking Winchester-y, just on a day-to-day basis, walking around. I did think it would be kind of fun to do, like, an evolution, you know, like, to have Sam and Dean from, like, season 1, and then, like, see what they all look like in season 4 and like just adjust them as they get older. I think that would be really fun. But, you know, I almost also made them all adults because at this point, like, all the actors are adults. They're like all in their late 30s or early 40s. The characters are all like full adults, but just the adult thing on The Sims gives you that like weird, the like mouth line thing that, does anybody have that in, like, I know people have that, but these actors don't. Okay, this is the face I had the most fun with. So, you know, as a Dean girl, I obviously care a lot about Castiel. He was, I think, in terms of just watching the show, I think he was my favorite character. He's not the one that I projected the most onto, but he was my favorite, just in terms of all the things they did with him. I gave him the spellcaster aspiration just because it seemed like, I don't know, if you're doing gameplay with this, I think it would be very fun to have, like, a warlock cast and have that, like, sort of stand in for his magical powers. And then genius, because he is... loves outdoors, because he does kind of, that would like lead to a lot of very Castiel-y gameplay, and then hot-headed, because I just think it'd be fun to have him fight a lot. His face, this I think was the face that I enjoyed doing the most, because Misha Collins, who plays Castiel, is just very handsome. Like, if I saw him in the street in real life, I think I would like develop asthma immediately. But he has a super distinctive face. So like, he does not have the Amy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine problem of like his face is just too classically attractive. No, he's very attractive, but he just has like a super distinct face. I will say that I had to fuck with his nose a lot to make it look right, and so it probably would end up looking a little weird if you had him have babies with anybody, but he's got the stubble. They all have the stubble in the end. Dean looked too twinky without it. I spent a long time picking his hair. I almost gave him a custom content hair, but then I ended up not doing it. Mostly because I think the hallmark of his hair is just that it's like real messy all the time. Like, it's never in order. So I gave him that cats and dogs hair that's just kind of like all over the place. Yeah. I did end up, you don't see it in this video because I went and downloaded it after I finished recording, but I do give him like a custom content outfit that's just like fully, it was made to be the Castiel outfit. It's just like one swatch, it's this trench coat. So yeah, I don't know. I have a ton to say about the show Supernatural. And like I said, I'm probably going to go back and watch a bunch of it this year as we get into the final season of the show. I will miss it quite a bit. I liked seeing the updates on my Tumblr dashboard. I didn't keep up with it, but they definitely look a little bit more like the later seasons versions of themselves. So I know that a ton of people have done Supernatural before in The Sims. Like, I know this is not new. I'm not special, but they do look a little bit closer to like what they look like in the current seasons, if that's something that's of interest to you. Yeah, I love this show. I might like cry when it officially ends, actually. But, you know, we all have things that we do that are irrational. Yeah, that's pretty much everything that I have for today. If you want to download them, they are on the gallery. My origin ID is ElenaD97. I'll put that in the description. You can also follow me on Twitter at EBSims. There's EB-Sims-YT. All that jazz. Subscribe, comment, like, whatever people do. If you have any requests for upcoming cast videos. Next, I think I'm going to try and do Buffy. And then after that, I'm going to do the Weird Sisters and Nick Scratch from Sabrina, just as like a little follow-up. So that's my plans, but I'm always looking for more ideas. So thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you. I hope you appreciate you. And I will see you all next time.